You don't have to be like Tony Robbins to be a life coach. In fact, Tony Robbins is not a life coach. He calls himself a strategist.
Watch us and win with us.
Now, the reason why I say he's not a life coach, and I say it really adamantly, is because a lot of people, just like you, have become passionate about doing life coaching, but you've become paralyzed because you feel like, but I don't have the credibility. I don't have the contacts of Tony Robbins. I don't have the business advice or the savvy that he has. I want to set your mind at ease. You don't have to be like Tony Robbins to be a life coach. In fact, Tony Robbins himself does not consider himself a life coach. Look at this description from Tony Robbins himself from a broadcast convention that I'm going to. He calls himself a strategist. He is not a life coach. He's a strategist, and a strategist is much different. A strategist is someone who consults, who says, I have content, I have some advice based upon a lot of data that can help you out. Life coaching is absolutely different. A life coach does not come in with strategies, with answers, with content. In fact, if you do, and you have done that as a life coach, maybe that's why you're not doing so well as a life coach, because a life coach does not come in with answers. We do not have answers. We come in with the best questions. There is an entity called the ICF, the International Coaching Federation. It is the governing body of professional coaches that is the gold standard today of what makes a good life coach, to make sure that you understand how a life coach is different than a consultant. Now, Tony Robbins is an incredible consultant. I mean, he's helped billionaires. He's helped presidents and politicians. And if you can help politicians, you're really good. You've got a lot of content. But ultimately, what he does by helping millions of people is he helps them to have content that really consults where they are in their life and helps them see different viewpoints. That's great. But you as a life coach, you don't have that pressure on your shoulders. You don't have to know everything about an industry to help a client who's coming with questions in that industry. And I know that might come as a surprise to you, but it actually is worse off for you to have a lot of content, because the more content you have, the less curiosity you have. And the best life coaches are not coaches with content, they're coaches with curiosity. And what do I mean by that? So your client comes in and they have a specific goal in a specific industry. If you are starting out and you don't understand what a life coach really does, and you think it's what Tony Robbins does or what some of these other life consultants or life strategists do, you will start freaking out and you'll start giving advice. And your advice is not going to be all that good. It's going to probably be based on story rather than data. So it'll be allegorical data. It's not going to be empirical data. And you're actually going to set yourself up for lawsuits and a lot of very dissatisfied clients because they're not going to find success in the suggestions that you give them. What a life coach does, a life coach comes in and understands that your client actually has the best answers. Your client, unfortunately, has a bunch of barriers that they've set up between them and their goal. And because they've set up these barriers, and these barriers are based on fears, paralysis of analysis, based upon things that they know they should do, they just have decided or chosen not to do those things for one reason or another. And so you as a life coach, you come in not as a drill sergeant to tell people what to do. Please, please don't be a drill sergeant. You're the compassionate listener who listens to your client and says, okay, so what is it between this goal that we agreed upon at the beginning of our session and the action steps that we're going to take, that we're going to agree to at the end of the session? What are the things that are keeping you from experiencing forward momentum toward that goal? And let's work on that. And so you as a life coach are not there to tell them those action steps. You as a life coach are there to ask the most brilliant questions to help them see all of the opportunities, all of the threats, all of their strengths, all of their weaknesses, in order to be able to look at those obstacles and to find the most loving way to navigate around those obstacles. If you come in and you tell your clients, "Oh, just do this. Well, why don't you just do that? Well, why haven't you done this?" And in your questioning, you're giving them suggestions, you're not going to be a successful life coach. In fact, if anyone from the ICF monitors and you send in some of your recordings of your sessions so that you can get more certification hours and get more letters behind your name, those sessions will actually be rejected as good sessions, because the ICF requires you not to give suggestions, requires you not to consult, because they understand the psychology behind helping your clients is not being a consultant, not being a drill sergeant, not being someone with these brilliant suggestions, these brilliant answers. The beauty of life coaching is that you, as a life coach, and this with experience, you'll become so relaxed during your session, because the pressure's off you to have the right answer. The pressure's on you to have the right questions. And so you will just consistently listen and tell me more about that. And why is that an issue? And help your client dial deeper and deeper into, yeah, that's the cause of your paralysis right now. So what can we do to take a step forward? And that's what leads your client into a beautiful experience. So you don't have to be Tony Robbins, even though he's amazing and he's so inspiring. You don't have to be Tony Robbins. You have to be you. And the reason why you're passionate about life coaching is because it's part of your purpose, and part of your meaning and your destiny in your life is to bring joy into other people's lives. That's why you've been driven even to watch this video, is because you know there's something within you that's been planted within you to say, I am called to go help other people to achieve their highest levels of success. That's why I got into it. That's why I'm doing what I'm doing with these videos and helping you for free, is because it's my job to help you bring joy into more people's lives. I hope this has been beneficial for you. If so, please click subscribe and like. I've got so many other videos to help you out. I hope that it really helps you to be inspired and to really get past some of your obstacles in becoming the most powerful life coach you can be. I also want to encourage you to write down below your comments, your questions. What questions do you have? What are some of the other things in life coaching that you'd love to learn about or hear about? Some of the best practices in being the best life coach you can be. I'd love to make a video based upon your suggestions. So make sure you write to me down below. I'll see you next time.
Watch us and win with